All right. Now, Kendrick Lamar, K. Dot, Kung Fu Kenny have just released a collector's edition of his album Damn, which has all the tracks in reverse. So yeah, we'll get down to why he maybe have done this and the whole idea. But first of all, let's break some of his background. All right. Now, Kung Fu Kenny is a Grammy nominated and winning artist. Now, he was first screwed when he dropped the whole Good Kid, Mad City, and it lost to Macklemore, and that was crap. But he's been in the game for years. He's been making music since he was 16, 2003, of course. He released the whole Young Head Nigga in Charge, which, that was critically acclaimed. Then he released Training Day, C4. He was part of the Black Hippie Collective, which was pretty big. Then he released Section 80, which was dope. Downloads were free. He released that whole song, High Power, and stuff like that. And of course, Game Cubs dubbed him the new king of the West Coast. He was featured on the Game's Red album, which, is how I first got exposed to him. Then he had Good Kid, Mad City, had tracks like Swimming Pool, had tracks like Poetic Justice, Bitch Don't Blow My High, which was pretty good. Then he released his acclaimed album To Pimp a Butterfly, which was amazing, man. To Pimp a Butterfly was, of course, acclaimed by everybody. Then he released a song, and then he released a collection of songs that were untitled, unmastered. Then he released his original Damn album, which many people were shocked, surprised. Even Anthony Fantano gave that album a 7. And you know how Anthony Fantano was a big Kendrick Lamar fan, which got some controversy because then Anthony Fantano gave Little Pump a 7. And now his 7s are looked at like with suspicion. This was one of the biggest controversial ratings he had since the whole Shabazz whole thing with Kanye West. I'm sorry, I'm just doing it off the rip. He had with Kanye West, and there was multiple theories about the album. Like if you play it in reverse, then it would tell a story. Like Duckworth would tell the story of him growing up without a father and having a God complex and having fear, which the whole idea of fear being the fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. That was a Bible verse, I believe. And then him having sex with, of course, the triple X, then love coming out of that sex, making love. Then he had lust, which would also come out of that sex. Then people would tell him to be humble, but his pride is ruining his life. And of course, he has to stay loyal to his set, to his gang, and that's how he feels. And that's his element, which, people explaining this whole concept of the album kind of get stumped when you have the whole songs like Yeah Yeah, which I guess is another reference to God because it is a shortening of the word Yeshua. So yeah, and of course, some people might feel that he has violence in his DNA since he explained that in the beginning that, Anthony, he had mother on crack and stuff like that. And of course, he is a blood. But let's not worry about that. Let's just get into the track listing. Now, you have a song like Duckworth, which is arguably the best song on here tells the story about how his father, how his life before he became a big superstar, how he was a kid and his father was working at a chicken place, and his manager or record label, the person who runs his record label, could have shot his father when he stuck up a chicken place that his father was working at, but because he got into the good graces of the guy who runs his record label, Top Dog Entertainment, he survives. And then you have a song like God, which could be considered one of the worst songs on the whole album. This one and Yeah, but Yeah is slow, while God is pretty fast, or at least average level for a song. So yeah, and of course he kind of sounds like the guy from Simpsons, the way he does the ha ha. Like yeah, I think I forgot the bully from Simpsons. I forgot his name. But then you have a song like Fear, which tells the story of how he fears his mother. A song like Duckworth talks about his father, while a song like Fear talks about his mother. And it brings in the whole idea of being a god and being part of the Hebrew Israelites. So that's something. Then you have a song like Triple X, which samples a sample from the newest album U2 that the newest album U2 had, you know. So yeah, that was just a sample with a little bit more bass from American Soul, which was pretty nice. Then you have a R&B love track, which is Love. You know, he does the whole Drake thing on this song. Give me a lot of money. And this is actually a love song to his wife, you know, which was pretty nice. And then you have a song like Lust, which is talking about the whole idea of, you know, being bored and repetitive with life and just life boring you overall. And to highlight the whole theme, he repeats over and over like a Barry King record, kind of reminding me of the Van Morrison album I did, you know, with the beginning. And then you have a song like Pride, which was boop. Now, the song Pride, it of course has him doing voices in high pitch, like his high pitched Kendrick voice, and then he has him sounding kind of like he's on like this little low pitch thing. Like the song's pretty awesome. And then you have the song like Loyalty, which I kind of feels like Rihanna probably out rapped Kendrick on this song. Dude! So yeah, as I was saying, on the song Loyalty, I feel that Rihanna like out rapped Kendrick. And speaking of loyalty, like on the song Fear, it talks about, Kendrick talks about how Rihanna had tax trouble and somebody was screwing her over with her money and stuff like that. Like that probably what ties them together to even make a song like this, which was pretty nice. And on the song Feels, he talks about how he's feeling, you know. He talks about the number of emotions he feels, which just all brings up down to the whole point of the whole song Element, where he says you can't take him out of his element. And he kind of does a slick shot to be to the to the rapper Big Sean, when I feels he says snitching is in your heritage, like daddy snitching is in your heritage. And you know, since Big Sean had that song Bounce Back where he says that being a G is in his genetics. So yeah, I think that was a slick shot. And on the song Yeah, he kind of references like Fox News, and then reference his niece and reference that she deserved living. Like that's a little bizarre. A little bizarre. And then you have a song that's a banger, DNA, which was like the jam. Like I heard this song and I'm like, boom, 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 boom. Here's this probably shit in my DNA. Like, yeah, I like this Kendrick. You know, Kendrick to me when he just keeps on repeating like a song over and over again. Like when he keeps on repeating a word, it gets a little bit annoying. Like kind of like he did on Humble, like he does the whole funk thing, like da 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 funk, and then blah blah blah, and then he does a little A flow, kind of got annoying on the song Humble. Like, be humble. And you know what? For a minute there, the song "Humble" was a little bit too humble. I kind of skipped that track, but hey, that's just my fault. But on the whole intro track, "Blood," which have Kendrick helping out a woman who could be in reference to Lucy, as in Lucifer, the woman, and they're in a park and he gets shot, and of course he sheds blood. So overall, this album, you know, it doesn't flow as well as other Kendrick albums, even in reverse. And the whole theory that if you play this whole album backwards, it will tell a story is ruined by the whole track. I say yeah, because the song yeah, it kind of like slow and doesn't really carry out the same themes. But overall, I'm digging this album. It's one of Kendrick's more uniquer albums. Like I would give this album as a whole a 8. But yeah, I can get why people might dislike this album because this album is kind of in Kendrick's more basic form. You know, I don't really like the track God nor Yeah. I kind of like Yeah, but not as much as I like the other tracks on here. You know, I kind of think the beat is pretty awesome. But overall, pretty awesome album. Kendrick Lamar, damn. You know, he re-released it, so I'm covering it. So please like and subscribe, share the video, and I'm out, guys.